Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a different kind of video. It is not about makeup, and this is something that I've been thinking about for a couple of weeks, whether I wanted to record it or not. I like to share a lot of things with you guys, but there's certain things that are very personal, and I'm not sure how much I want to share, but this one was important to me because I'm sure I am not the only one that has gone through this, and I want my channel to be about not just makeup and skincare and fun times, but also real. Okay, I want my channel to be somewhere that you guys can relate to me as a person and not just as someone that likes to paint her face. As much as I enjoy that, you know, I'm not always 24/7, you know, playing with makeup and happy-go-lucky, you know. So let me backtrack a little bit. Okay, I've always been the type of person that has been very, very independent, even from the time that I was very young. I always felt that, you know, I could take care of myself. You know, I don't like to ask for help. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this was just me. You know, I learned, I guess, from my move from Cuba to the United States. I was 11 years old. It was very traumatic to the point where I can't even remember a lot of my 11 years in Cuba, believe it or not. A lot of that has been like erased. I don't know if it was a trauma of the move. You know, it was very hard coming to a country where I didn't speak any English. You know, I had to start in the classroom. We came to New Jersey, and no one in my classroom except for one girl spoke Spanish. So she was the one that, you know, was stuck helping me, and we became really good friends, even as adults. So, but you know, I was 11 years old. I had just turned 11. I was in the 7th grade, and I was reading, you know, See Spot Run, you know, and I repeated my 7th grade, and then when I was going to go to 9th grade, we moved to Florida, and I started going to high school here in Florida. But anyways, as I grew up, I was always, you know, helpful with my parents. My parents didn't speak English, so I was the one that, you know, had to help them with paperwork and mail that they received, and, you know, doctors and everything else, you know, and I never minded. Okay, I knew that I was doing it for them, and that was never an issue. But I think because of that, I learned to be very independent. I learned that, you know, I was a problem solver. I learned that, you know, I was kind of like the fixer-upper when there were like issues, or the person that tried to solve the issues and keep, you know, the family happy and together. Not that we've ever had any big issues, but you know, every family has their ups and downs, right? So anyways, I was always that person. I was a person, you know, I was always, from the time I was in my early 20s, I was a manager and supervisor in my different positions at different jobs. And I was always in charge of adults, many times, especially in my youth, older than me. You know, I supervised people older than me, and a lot of them resented that. And I learned to live with it. You know, it's like, it is what it is. You know, I felt like it's their problem. I never asked anyone to do anything I wouldn't be willing to do myself. Anyway, my whole life has always been, I've been in control. I've been in control of my life. I've been in control of my emotions. You know, I had it together, you know, when it comes to my mental health, my emotions, until my mother got sick. And my mother complained for several weeks that her stomach was bothering her, that she couldn't eat. But my mother, even though she said she wasn't eating, she wasn't losing any weight. So, and she was never a skinny person. She wasn't like obese or anything, but you know, she wasn't skinny mini either. So, but anyway, she kept complaining, and she went to her primary care doctor, and you know, they told her maybe she should do a colonoscopy. Well, she decided she didn't want to go through all that. Then one day she got up, and she was in so much pain that my dad called her primary doctor and they told her to take her to the ER. My mother went to the hospital. She was admitted. They did an endoscopy, a colonoscopy, and they found out she had stomach cancer. And it was like covering like 75% of her stomach. So that was very, very shocking to all of us. And then when, you know, I worked for pathologists at the time. Well, I worked for them for like 28 years, but I was still working for them at the time. That's where I retired from. So as soon as my mom had the colonoscopy and the endoscopy, it was done at the hospital where the pathologists I work for reside. So I went to go see them. And of course, they don't want to tell me anything, you know, which is fine. You know, I totally get that. But I did ask them, can you please put it through as quickly as possible? Not that they don't, but I wanted it rushed, okay? So I told him, I said, you know, my mom just had this done, gave him the name, and I said, please, 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 you know, can you get this done as soon as possible and send it to her doctor so we can know what's going on? So the doctor, you know, when they came out, they told us that they found something and that they thought it was cancer, but it had gone down to pathology and they will have a better idea in a day or so. So when they came back to talk to us, they told us the kind of cancer that she had, and I have that on my phone, but I'm not going to look it up right now. It doesn't make a difference. But anyways, they told us she would probably live between 7 to 10 weeks. My mother passed away in 7 weeks. My mother, we didn't even have time to digest what was going on. It was very hard, but at the same time, you kind of go on automatic pilot and you don't think of anything. You just think about taking care of her and what you need to do for her so that it can be as easy for her as possible. And you not think, at least I wasn't thinking about myself, boo-hoo-hoo, I can't handle this, I can't do it. You know, my husband and I and my sister, we were hands-on, you know, 24/7. I pretty much didn't work most of the time. At the time, we didn't know it was just going to be 7 weeks, but you know, I didn't work most of the time, and we tag teamed so that one of us will be with her at all times. She went from the hospital, she went home with hospice at home. We didn't want to put her in the facility. And even though hospice was involved, I was the one involved with giving her the medication. I did not want a nurse there all the time, and I only gave my mother what she needed. My mother was the type of person that if she had pain, if she took one ibuprofen, or one, forget ibuprofen, one Tylenol would take care of her pain. She reacted very strongly to medication, so she didn't need as much for pain control. So I gave her, they had her on morphine, and I only gave her the morphine that she needed. I wanted her to be lucid. I didn't want her in pain. I didn't have her in pain. I didn't make her suffer. But I wanted to spend as much time with my mom as I possibly could. And you could see the change in my mom from morning, from the time she got up till at night. One morning she got up, she was able to walk to the living room. By the end of the night, my mother, we had to carry her to the bed because she couldn't walk anymore. So the change was drastic. Anyway, when my mother passed away, it was hard. And it wasn't just hard because my mother passed away, but it was hard because my father fell apart. My father, that I always thought was the strong one, the one that had it all together, the one that, you know, the glue. I realized my mom at that point was the strong one. You know, she never whined, complained. She knew what was happening to her. And if anything, she was telling my dad, you know, stop it. Because my dad was like, it almost upset me because it was almost like, about him when it wasn't. And she kept telling me, you need to be strong, your daughters need you, all this stuff. Okay, my mother had it together, and I'm trying to keep it together, okay? Anyways, you know, my mother passed away in August 18th, 10 years ago. And I thought I was handling it. Of course, you know, hospice offers counseling. I'm not a counseling kind of girl, okay? I don't. I feel like the things, you know, things will get better, you know, you'll learn to live with it, you know. I don't want to hear it. So none of us went to counseling, and I think it was normal that we all grieved. And you know, I knew that I was grieving, and that was okay. But I went to my primary care doctor, I think it was like in October, and I knew I was having a hard time. My chest felt like very tight, and going from I'm the person that has it all together, always in control, I felt like I'm holding on to, you know, on thin ice. I'm slipping. I can't hold on to, you know, my emotions. I don't want to think about things. I don't want to worry about silly problems, you know, things like that. And anyways, I had an appointment to have my physical done, and I went to my primary doctor, and the nurse took me back, you know, how they check your weight, your blood pressure, and everything. And then she goes, "How are you doing today, Miss Clara?" As soon as she said that, I started bawling, and I couldn't stop. And she was just looking at me like, what the heck? I've been going to this doctor for a long time, so it's not like I was new. And she's like, "It's okay, honey, it's okay, honey." She took me right to the room. And when the doctor came in, I told him what happened, and I told him, I said, "I'm having a very hard time with this. I need to stop." Anyway, after I told him how I was feeling, he told me that he thought, you know, he could give me something to help me out. So he put me on Lexapro, or escitalopram, which is the generic, okay, on 20 milligrams. So I started taking it, and just the fact that it took a couple of weeks for that to kick in, but just the fact that I started taking something that I knew was going to help me made me feel better. And let me tell you, I'm the type of person that always felt like, why can't people just handle their problems? Why do they need a pill? You know, you should be able to handle stress. I'm being truthful. You know, not that if somebody told me that they were on medication, I'm going to tell them, what the heck is wrong with you? You're a wimp. No, but to myself, I would say, why do they need that? Why can't they handle it? Why are they being weak? You know, and this was me. And when it happened to me, I realized, like, there's times when you need help. There's times when you need to ask for help. And that doctor helped me. He put me on, like I said, escitalopram for 20 milligrams. So, you know, my mother passed away. My dad was a mess. You know, my sister and I looked after him. He wanted to live on his own, and he lived on his own until the last, you know, like 4 years of his life. So like for 5 or 6 years, he lived on his own. But every day, we would take turns. One day he would drive to my house and have dinner with my husband and I, and we would, you know, we would talk and whatever, and then he would go home like around 9 o'clock at night, and then I would check on him, you know, periodically during the day. And then my sister the next day would go by his house the next day and cook for him and spend some time with him. And on the weekend it was the same thing, you know, we spend time with him. And her entire family would go see him every Sunday after church. So he was never abandoned or on his own. And he didn't move in with either one of us because he didn't want to. And at the time, my dad was, you know, he has his medical and physical issues, but he was okay. He could take care of himself. But we still had that worry, right? We had that worry about, you know, my dad. And, you know, I know that losing my mom, it was very hard. You know, I still had that concern. We had one more thing to worry about, one more person that, you know, I felt like we had to take care of. And every doctor's appointment that he had, you know, one of us would go with him and try to help him through the difficult time. So anyways, then my dad had a shoulder, he had a couple of surgeries. I'm not going to go into the second surgery. The first surgery he had, he came to my house for a couple of weeks for recovery, and then he wanted to go back home. The second surgery he had, it was another shoulder replacement surgery. He never fully recovered from that surgery. He really went downhill from there. So he never went back home. He didn't want to stay with us, but at the time we didn't feel like he could be on his own. You know, he would fall very easily. We could tell he was struggling. My father passed away when he was 93. You know, he lived for himself till he was like 88 or something like that. All right. So anyways, that when he lived with us, you know, it was stressful. Our life, my husband and my life, changed totally. You know, you don't have your independence anymore. You know, we were taking care of him, and things definitely didn't get any better. So I was still on my medication. And so, you know, I was on my medication for a total of 10 years. Okay. It would have been 10 years, like around now. I decided, like in May, that I didn't want to be on this medication anymore. This medication is, you know, I needed it at the time. I'm glad I took it. I think it helped me. I don't have any regrets taking it. But I didn't want it to continue being like a crutch for the rest of my life. I want my life back. I want to be able to have control again. And I don't want to feel like a pill is helping me have control. I'm not saying that if in the future I need it again, I wouldn't go on it. Okay, you guys, I'm not judging anyone that takes a pill for anxiety, depression, or anything. I'm glad I have that. I'm glad I had it. I still have my Xanax, and if there's a day that I feel like I need it, I'll take it. So, you know, my attitude towards those type of medication has totally changed, because it's like, Clara, girl, you're not as strong as you thought you were. You can break down just like everybody else, and you know what? Karma came knocking, and you know, knocked you down a couple of ledges there, you know. So anyways, we were going on vacation with my daughter like mid-June. So I decided to wait till after that to start weaning off of it, because it was kind of like a long process. So then we were home for like a week and a half, or like a week, and then we were going to the beach for vacation. So I said, okay, if I start feeling kind of bad or something, I'm at the beach, I'm not anywhere, it's just me and my husband. So anyway, I started like that week we were going to the beach, and I was supposed to be 2 weeks on the 20 milligrams every other day, and 10 milligrams alternate, 10 20 10 20 10 20 for 2 weeks. And after that I was supposed to go to 10 milligrams for 2 weeks, and then after that 10 milligrams and 5 milligrams for 2 weeks, and then be done. So it was going to be like 2 for like 6 weeks, right? 8 weeks. So it was a process. So did I have side effects from it? Yes. I felt, especially the first few weeks, I felt like my head was like in a cloud. Like I really couldn't concentrate. Like I would lose my train of thought very easily than I normally do, because I still do that. It affected my sleep pattern. Cold sweats. Oh my gosh, I would just have cold sweats, but I mean sweats. It was terrible. And that lasted for probably till I was ready to go on the 5 milligram. So that, you know, and I'm lucky because I know someone that tried to get off of it, and she was having brain zaps, which is she said it's exactly what it sounds like. And I was prepared that even if I had that, I was going to stick to it and get off of it. Okay, because I don't work. So brain zapping, okay, I think I can deal with it at home, hopefully. But I didn't have to deal with that. I never got that. So I've been off of it totally for about 2 weeks, 100% off. Do I feel different now? I feel like I'm a little more emotional, but I don't know if it's still some of it in my system, because I still get those cold, you know, like instead of hot flashes, they're like cold flashes. Not, you know, so these cold sweats that, yeah, they're horrible. But anyways, I'm glad to say I'm off of it. Like I said, I don't know how long it takes for it to be 100% out of your system. I still feel like it may not be 100%, because I find myself a little more emotional, or maybe because I wasn't as emotional before, so now this is normal and I feel like I'm more emotional. I don't know. But I wanted to share this with you in case you ever have to go on, if you ever feel like you need help get help. Don't be an idiot like me. Don't be so hard on yourself. We don't have to do it all. We can ask for help. It's okay. My husband is there for me for anything that I need. If there's one person that tries to help me even when I don't ask for help, it's him. He's there for me unconditionally. And I don't even like asking for help to him. I feel like I need enough help with my back issues, but it's okay. It's okay to ask for help. You know what? I help others. So if I'm willing to help others, why am I not willing to accept somebody else's help? But I just wanted you to know that if you feel that you need medication, take it. You know, it doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. You know, it makes you human because there's, you know, I think that there would be something wrong with us if we felt like we have to have control 100% of the time. And I don't feel like I was having to have control, like, of my husband or my grandkids, of my kids. Not that type of control. I don't mean being in control, a controlling person. No. Control of me. I've always been one that I had to be in control of me. I had to go get my own gas. You know, I did all the groceries. I went to work. You know what I mean? It's like, I felt like all the responsibility, I didn't want to share responsibility. It's like, I can do it all. You know, but that doesn't mean I was controlling of others. I've never been controlling of others. I've always been live and let live, okay? It's your life. As long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else, you know. I don't like to be told what to do. I want to be able to live my own life. So I really try very hard not to meddle in anybody else's life. But if you're thinking about getting off this medication, please do not do it cold turkey. Do not even consider doing it cold turkey. Get with your doctor and see what the plan is. But do it slowly. You know, take your time. Like I said, I had 2 weeks of 10-20 alternating, 2 weeks of 10, 2 weeks of 10-5, and I did 2 weeks of 5 milligrams. So it was 8 weeks. I really feel that slow and steady is the best way to do it. You know, especially if you've been on this medication for a long time. So, you know, I want you to know you're not alone. I did this video because I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that, you know, I don't know, the stronger they are, the harder they fall, I guess. And, you know, reality and life can slap you in the face once in a while and say, hey, get a hold of yourself. You're not Superwoman. And it's okay not to be Superwoman. We don't need to be Superwoman, okay? We just need to be kind, loving, understanding. And yes, it's good to be independent. I wouldn't change that for anything. I like being independent. I like not having to depend on anyone. You know, I can do things on my own, but I don't have to. And now I feel like, you know, if I'm stressed about something, if I'm concerned about something, I need to talk about it with my husband, with my daughter. My daughter is my best friend. With my son, you know, I have a relationship with my kids and grandkids. Even though there's even my adult grandkids. My granddaughter is amazing. She's getting her master's on, she's going to be like a family therapist. And she's amazing. She was born for that. So, I could even talk to her, but I don't know if I would want to burden her with my issues. You know, I think I wouldn't want her to worry about me. But I know that I could talk to my daughter, I can talk to my husband, I can talk to my son. So, I have people I can go to. And I'm hoping that I never need to go back on antidepressants, but if I do, I do. And you know, next time, if I know that I need it, I won't hesitate and I will ask for that help. But I mainly wanted to do this because I wanted you guys to know that, you know, it's okay. It's okay to do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. It's not a sign of weakness. I think it's a sign of being a strong person to realize that you need help and that you can't do it. And, you know, my help lasted a heck of a lot longer than I thought it would. But, you know, even though my mom's death was very sudden, and like I said, we didn't even have time to grasp it and realize what was going on. You know, I feel like she was gone within a blink of an eye. My dad's was hard because my dad was always, he was independent. You know, he was a hard worker. He was very active. He built his own 3-wheel bicycles, and he would bike for like 5 miles a day. And, you know, he was always very active. He would do his own lawn. He has a huge piece of property. He was a mechanic, and he would fix his own car and help other people with their cars. And when my dad saw that he wasn't able to walk, that, you know, he didn't have his freedom, that was heartbreaking. That was my father's hell on earth. And that was hard. That was hard to, you know, because I heard for him. I'm very blessed I was able to have an extra 9 years with him. You know, I got to know him so much better. All the stories he used to tell my husband and I about when he was young, those are the moments and times that I would always treasure. And I'm so glad that we were able to be here for him. But it was not easy, guys. It was not easy mentally, physically. It was stressful on our marriage, because even for us to just go out to dinner, I mean, we would have to have someone able to come in and you know, stay with him. And we're both the type of people that we don't like asking others to, hey, can you come over here and stay with him for 3 hours so we can go have a nice dinner? You know, it's almost like, okay, we'd rather not go out. But those were choices that we made, but it was very, very difficult. So I feel like I'm on the other side now, and that's why I can talk to you guys about it. And mainly, like I said, I just want you guys to know that please don't feel that you're being weak by asking for help. And take your medication as long as you need to. You know, I definitely wasn't in any rush, but it just came to me and you know, when I was thinking like this year's like, how long do I want to be on this? There's always going to be issues in my life that I'm going to have to deal with. I mean, everybody has issues, small, big, medium. You know, do I want to depend on this? Do I feel like I'm ready to get off this medication? My camera cut off, so I just wanted to finish this really quick. Part of the reason I wanted to stop this medication was because I felt that there were times when I wasn't feeling the emotions that I should be feeling. Like I was almost numb to some of the emotions that should be there, and I didn't like that about myself. So I decided that I wanted to be me again. I wanted to be able to handle life without this pill. But once again, I'm going to tell you that there's nothing wrong with getting help. This pill helped me while I was taking it, and I'm very thankful that I was able to have it. And in the future, if I ever need help again, I will not hesitate to ask for it again, and I encourage you to do so. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope this video was helpful to some, and this is the only reason I wanted to share it. It is very personal, and it's something that I really struggled whether I wanted to share this with you guys or not. But if there's someone out there that this video can help, then I'm glad that I did record it and put it up for you guys. I love you, and I will see you on a lighter note on my next video. Bye, guys.